Item 13, ordinance calendar number 8153. Ordinance amending the official zoning map of St. Tammany Parish, Louisiana to reclassify a certain parcel located on the north side of Ronald Reagan Highway, west of LA Highway 1077, Covington, from its present R1 Rural Residential District to an S1 Suburban Residential District.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to, we have a lot of speakers. The speakers will get 3 minutes. I'd like for this to stay professional and polite. You have 3 minutes. The subject is whether or not to approve the zoning, this ordinance.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Matthew Allen, Executive Director of Northshore Riverwatch. I have been appearing before this body for 19 years, advocating for these same issues consistently over and over. Now, I want to say, throughout these proceedings, we have repeatedly heard the phrase, follow the code. I agree. Let's follow all of the code. Let's look at our flood hazard area requirement code, section 900 6.7 C4. It states that no land shall hereafter be located, altered, or have its use changed without full compliance with the flood hazard regulations. This is a land use change, so that provision applies to the decision before you tonight. Floodplain management doesn't begin with the first permit issued. It begins when this council decides where concentrations of people will live. Once land is rezoned, the opportunity to avoid flood risk has passed. This instant ordinance under consideration states that this rezoning is necessary for the protection of the public health, safety, and general welfare. I ask, what evidence in the administrative record supports this finding? I can't find any. The applicants ask you to rely on future engineering and future solutions and promises. Engineering is an important role, but it has its limits. Subdivision detention ponds manage local stormwater. It cannot solve regional river flooding. The parish engineer acknowledged that flood happened and they designed the 100-year flood event, and that it gets exceeded. We have shown that's been exceeded 5 times in 43 years. Is that adding to the health, safety, and welfare of the Goodby community? My answer is no. We ask you to rely on the administrative record. It includes planning staff reports, FEMA mapping, modern FEMA-based flood elevation models, and evidence of this property lies within documented interbasin flood pathways. The flood hazard area requirements, the code, exists to control fill, preserve natural accommodations of floodwaters, and reduce increases in flood hazards to other lands. Those purposes must be considered here during zoning before the change of land use, as per the code. The applicant's case is built on future promises. The opposition's case is built on the administrative record. One is built on sand, the other is built on rock. I respectfully ask this council to follow the code, build its decision on the solid rock of the administrative record and your own flood hazard area requirements, the code, and publicly reconcile that decision with the evidence of your findings that this proposed rezoning protects public health, safety, and welfare. Thank you.
Sir.
The motion passes with 10 yeas, 4 nays, and no one absent.
Thank you. All right, next.
Item 14, ordinance calendar number 8154. Ordinance amending the official zoning map of St. Tammany Parish, Louisiana to reclassify a certain parcel located on the north side of Ronald Reagan Highway and on the south side of LA Highway 1077, Covington, from its present R1 Rural Residential District and NC2 Neighborhood Commercial District to an S1 Suburban Residential District and S2 Suburban Residential District.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Matthew Allen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Matthew Allen for Northshore Riverwatch. I would like to remind y'all, you have a right to change your mind based on new evidence. That's why it's held over for 30 days between introduction and adoption. I also would like to take issue with the disrespect shown by Mr. Marone, claiming that there are no experts in the audience making comments. I have been a certified floodplain manager for more than 9 years, keeping up with all the requirements and all the education that goes with it. I also have a major in physics and a minor in mathematics. If I can't understand engineering, I don't know what kind of qualifications Mr. Marone has in those respects either. And yet he always talked about floodplains and how they're doing what they're supposed to be doing in it. As far as I know, he has a legal degree. But to save time, I respectfully ask that my comments on ordinance 8153 be incorporated here. And I'd like to go back to, let's follow the code. And again, your floodplain ordinances code, which I've asked for decades to be followed and been ignored, state that no use shall be changed without compliance here. And again, I ask, this ordinance that you're debating today states that this rezoning is necessary for the protection of public health, safety, and general welfare. I've heard plenty of testimony here today saying that passing this and rezoning this is not going to protect the welfare of this community. This rezoning only places 700 to 800 homes in a flood hazard area, exposing them, other residents, nearby residents, and the whole parish to more risk. So they give us promises again. Oh, we promised this road's going to be fixed. Oh, we're promised we're going to do these. They don't talk about the river flooding. And they say, actually, they can engineer it away. Well, this decade, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers did a feasibility study. Y'all remember that? That's the one that came up with the idea for the Slidell levee. They actually studied the Defunct River in multiple ways and said there is no feasible engineering we can do to stop this flooding that inundates this whole property, as we have shown in the record. So we ask you to please say the record and articulate how, if you pass this, how this protects health, safety, and welfare. And if you cannot articulate that, how this land use changes complies with the UDC flood hazard area requirements and the health and safety and welfare, then you have no foundation for a decision to rezone this. Thank you.
Thank you.
The motion passes with 8 yeas, 6 nays, and no one absent.
Thank you. Okay.
Hold on one moment.
Discussions and
Hold
other
on
matters.
one moment, please.
Oh,